Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you, all the participants of the Winter School. Today we have the immense pleasure of having Dr. Suheel Ahmad with us. Sir is scientist and officer in charge, ICAR-IGFRI Temperate Research, Regional Research Center, Srinagar. Sir has had, we have had the immense pleasure of having Sir in other previous trainings and workshops with us. And today, the topic chosen by Sir for deliberation is advances in fodder production technologies for sustainable livestock production. Sir, you are audible as well as visible, and your presentation is also visible. Please start, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Majid. At the outset, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all the participants, and I take this opportunity to put on record my gratitude to the training chairman of this wonderful winter school, Dr. Nagaratna Biradar, who is officer in charge, IGFRI Regional Research Station, Dharwad, and of course NADCL. They have been really wonderful. We had a privilege to organize one training back in August and September, and several other trainings also. So this is a very collaborative, uh, work, collaborative trainings we are now organizing. Thank you, one and all. This topic, so far as this topic is concerned, uh, I am going to deliberate on what are the recent advances and recent trends in fodder production technologies for sustainable livestock production. As all of you know that livestock is an integral part of Indian agricultural system, and we are number one in milk production. India sustains about 10.7% of the world livestock population. We have around more than 510 million heads of livestock in our country. But the problem with our livestock production system is the low productivity of livestock. And there are several factors responsible for that. And one of the main factors is the shortage, the widening gap between demand and supply of fodder, quality fodder. So we are not able to give them quality fodder so as to sustain this huge livestock or burgeoning livestock population. So in this presentation, I have made an attempt has been made to present before you various fodder production technologies so as to move towards sustainable livestock production system. So the question straight away comes into our mind that what is the need for fodder technologies? As all of you know that livestock sector, it represents around one third of agricultural GDP in most of the countries, and in India also, in our country also, it represents more than 25% to agricultural GDP. But as I was mentioning that there is low productivity of livestock, and the prime factor which accounts for 50 to 60% of the towards this low productivity is the shortage of fodder. Other factors being breed improvement or health management or diseases, etc. And in our country, we have limited land endowments, and which definitely which have implications that farmers are not able to earmark adequate land for fodder cultivation. They have liking for more these cash crops or horticultural crops. So fodder crops are altogether neglected. So the possibility of increased fodder production by bringing additional area under fodder cultivation are limited, and it is therefore imperative that continuous efforts are made to augment forage resource availability through various niche areas. One being, say, for example, cultivated fodder from arable lands, from non-arable lands, using hortipasture and silvipasture technologies, grassland management or grassland rejuvenation or rehabilitation, and using other alternative forage resources like cactus, like fodder sugarcane, like hydroponic fodder system. And this livestock production has, I mean, assumed a lot of importance because of the greater demand for livestock products globally. as human populations as well as livestock populations have increased, and there has been a change in the dietary preference. There has been a change in the consumption pattern of livestock products. You can see in this particular graph that four of four of five highest value global commodities are from livestock, and this graph depicts that cow milk has overtaken rice. In the past 3 decades, production as well as consumption of livestock products in developing countries has grown at a rate of 3 to 5% per annum. So it is projected that by 2050, total meat and milk consumption in developing countries is almost expected to double. So these trends, they present both opportunities and challenges for livestock production systems throughout the world. Now, if we see the stats of livestock and fodder availability, I will just come to briefly give you an introduction about the stats of livestock and fodder availability in our country. As I already discussed that livestock sector is the backbone of India's economy. It provides source of income, it's a source of employment, equity, sustainability, foreign exchange earnings. It is an livestock are an insurance against frequent crop failures. So it helps in the complete the mixed crop livestock interaction is complementary as well as supplementary. So this is in brief about the contribution of agriculture and livestock sector, the contribution of livestock sector to agricultural GDP. And in the last year, so many sectors of economy were, they were hampered by this pandemic, the ongoing pandemic. But it was the agriculture is the only aspect of various economies that it was not. It registered a positive growth, and the contribution has grown by 20%. It has happened first time in the last 17 or 18 years. So this is the livestock projection of livestock. This is the livestock population as per 18th livestock census. Then the projected livestock population up to 2050. So the livestock population as compared to human population is also expanding tremendously. So we are then this is the species-wise milk contribution of various categories of livestock. Crossbred exotic cattle, they contribute 26%, indigenous buffalo 36%, indigenous cattle 12%. So these present a lot of challenges so that the gap between demand and supply of fodder is lessened. This is the demand and supply scenario of dry and green fodder availability in our country. You can see on the right side that there is a deficit. As of now, if we see the 2020 projection, we have a deficit of 30% so far as green fodder availability is concerned, and almost 12% so far as dry fodder availability is concerned. These are the various sources, grazing resources in our country: forests, permanent pastures or grazing lands, then cultivable wasteland, then fallow lands, then common property resources. Their percentage to the geographical area is also given. As already discussed, that the productivity of livestock in our country is very low. It is 20 to 60% lower than the world average, and the responsible factors are feed and fodder deficiency, breed improvement, diseases, and management. But if you see, the feed and fodder deficiency accounts for 50% as compared to other factors. Then feed and fodder, we all know that these are important inputs representing 50 to 75% of the total cost of production in any livestock production, influencing the survivability of the enterprises. And another aspect is that milk production in India is increasing at a faster rate, but feed and fodder resources are depleting. There are a number of factors responsible for that, like increased human population. We don't have much area under fodder crops. The area under fodder crops has remained static from the last so many years, even so many decades. It is hovering around 4 to 5% of the area under other agricultural crops, and there is more tendency of the farmers towards cereal and cash crops. So it has led to qualitative and quantitative insufficiency of feed and fodder resources. This is the map showing deficit. Some regions in India are surplus, of course, in fodder production, but there are a lot of areas, lot of regions in India, in our country, they are deficit in fodder. And we need a multi-pronged approach to increase or to decrease the gap between demand and supply of fodder. And for example, we should encourage forage production in mixed farming systems, like integration of food fodder cropping systems, exploitation of wastelands, denuded, degraded, marginal and submarginal lands for the development of pasture lands, and using forage-based agroforestry systems like silvopastures. Then there we need strategies and we need technologies for efficient utilization of available feed resources like crop residues, non-conventional feeds and fodders. And we need at the government policy level, just like other missions, we need a national fodder vision to augment feed and fodder resources in our country. These few slides. They just some important forage crops. I will just briefly give an idea about some annual and perennial fodder crops like this sorghum. Bicolor is one of the important fodder crops. We have varieties available for it. We have multi-cut, double cut, and single cut varieties. Then agronomic practices, package and practices also given. I will be sharing these slides with you, so I will just rush through these slides, just given preliminary introduction about these slides. What is the nutrient management, that how weed management in fodder crops has to be done, then what is the harvesting and yield potential from these crops. So this is one of the, again, this is pearl millet, a very important forage crop of dry, semi-arid and arid areas. Then it's some varieties and agronomic package and practices. Then maize, of course, a wonder crop for livestock feeding. We have several varieties like African tall, then Punjab J1006, and the recent release that we have from Scost K, one variety KDFM1, which was released, just a few months back. Then its agronomic practices are also given. Then we have cowpea, fodder cowpea, which is a dual purpose crop, and it's also used for fodder purpose. Then we have cluster bean, again a very important forage crop in arid and semi-arid areas. Then we have oat, a very important forage crop, rabi forage crop in our country. We have varieties for almost all the regions of India, all the agroclimatic zones of our country. Then Barasim, also a very important forage crop, its varieties, then its agronomic management. I'll be sharing, as already I mentioned, that I will be sharing slides with you. Then Lucerne is a very important. We have annual as well as perennial types in Medicago sativa. Then we have some perennial forages, very important. One of the important perennial forages is Bajar Napier hybrid. We have varieties which are suitable for southern region, for acidic soils and for saline soils. We have varieties being released by TNAU, Coimbatore, and from IGFRI and from other institutes also. Then we have Guinea grass. We have also varieties available in this particular grass. Then fodder production technology for arable lands, for cultivated lands. I will be just briefly giving you an example. For example, we have two types of arable lands. We have irrigated arable lands and we have non-irrigated. We have rain-fed arable lands. For irrigated arable lands, this particular technology has been developed in IGFRI, where it's annual based. That means annual crops are only used in this particular technology. One forage crop is we use multi-cut sorghum and cowpea during Kharif season, followed by Barseem. And the yield potential of this particular fodder production system is 172 tons per hectare per year. And it can be adopted in entire India except southern India. And the livestock, it can support about 5 to 6 ACUs of livestock, and it has been observed that it has having a BC ratio of 1.67. And this particular is for irrigated arable lands. Again, this is perennial based technology, again perfected and developed by Crop Production Division, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, where we use some perennial forages. Say, for example, we can use BN hybrid, we can use Guinea grass, and in this particular technology, we have used Bajar Napier hybrid and cowpea in the Kharif season and Barseem in the Rabi season. It has yield potential of 273 tons per hectare per year. And it can also be adopted in entire India except South India. And it can support 7 to 8 ACUs of livestock. And the BC ratio is, as compared to annual based production system, the BC ratio is higher, it's 2.41. Then, so far as fodder production in rain-fed arable lands is concerned, we have also developed one technology wherein we are using sorghum as grain crop and cowpea as fodder crop. And the yield potential, so far as grain is concerned, it is 2.5 tons per hectare, and green fodder, it is 17 tons per hectare. And it is suitable for semi-arid regions, and it can support 2 to 3 millet animals per hectare. Then fodder production in rain-fed arable lands, we have, this is a very important perennial based, we have Subabu, then tri-specific hybrid, sorghum, and pigeon pea. This tri-specific hybrid is a very important forage crop. It has also been developed by IGFRI, Penistum purpureum. It's a hybrid between Penistum purpureum, Penistum succamulatum, and Penistum glaucum. It's also having a high yield potential of 53.3 tons per hectare green fodder. And also we get a grain yield of 4.4 tons per hectare. It's suitable for small and medium farmers, and it can also support 2 to 3 millet animals. We can also get green fodder up to 30 tons and silage up to 15 tons per hectare from this production system. It's having a BC ratio of 2.59. Then, so far as our non-arable lands are concerned, we also have different technologies in the form of hortipasture and silvipasture systems. We have different silvi and hortipastoral systems for different agroclimatic zones. This is just an example for, say, for example, this is again developed by Grassland and Silvipasture Division of IGFRI. In this, we have used woody perennial Ficus infectoria, Packard, which is locally known as Packard, and we have used a combination of grass and legume, Stylosynthus and Guinea grass, and it is suitable for semi-arid regions. It's having a yield potential of more than 12 tons per hectare dry matter per, and it can support adult cattle units of 3 to 4 per hectare. And the beauty of this is that the leaf yield, it can be made into leaf meal, and it can be conserved in the form of hay also. This is again Hardwickia bainata based silvipasture system. In this also we have several grasses and legume combinations like Cenchrus ciliaris and Stylosynthus hamata. It's also having a carrying capacity of 2 ACUs per hectare. And in this particular system, we have used some soil water conservation technology in the form of staggered trenches. And once the establishment phase is over in this particular system, we can also go for grazing of small ruminants in this particular system. Then again, there are fruit-based agroforestry systems in our country, which we designate as horti pasture systems. We have systems available for southern India, We have systems available for temperate regions, hilly areas, and arid and semi-arid regions like amla-based hortipasture system, like we have mango-based or sapota-based hortipasture systems in southern India. I will come to that. Dr. Nagaratna Biradar, officer in charge, Regional Research Station, Dharwad, has done a lot of work in, ensuring fodder production or from mango orchards, participatory fodder production in mango orchards. And this is again GAVA based. Earlier it was Amla based. Now we have GAVA and Anjan grass based silvopasture system. It's also having a carrying capacity of 2 to 2.5 per hectare. This is the this one particular system was developed in IGFRI. It's a three-tier silvopasture system in which we use trees, we use shrubs, and we use grasses and legume mixtures. And it can almost give around the year fodder availability from this particular system. For example, in January to June we can have 21%, and February to April we can have 15%, and July to December we will be having green fodder up to the tune of 64%. And once this system gets established, we can also allow grazing in this particular system. Then we have multi-tier fodder production from degraded lands. We can also establish these multi-tier silvopasture systems using grasses and legumes like chrysopogon, like Panicum maximum, like Cenchrysiliaris, Clitoria, sesame, Stylosynthesia brana, etc. Then shrubs like Ficus infectoria, trees like Madhuka, Morus alba, and Acacia nilotica for rejuvenation of our grasslands. Then we have some non-competitive land uses. For example, we have bunds available in our agricultural fields. We can also use this particular technology, like using Guinea grass or Bajar Napier hybrid on the bunds. It can also give us 1400 to 2350 kilogram green fodder per year over single grass row of 1 hectare area. This again is a very important technology so far as fodder production from bunds is concerned. This is Napier Bajra or Bajra Napier hybrid on bunds at farmers' field, some photographs. Then these are the crops and varieties which are suitable for saline soils, and the yield potential in terms of green fodder is also given. Some varieties of crops like sorghum, teosinte, Bajar Napier hybrid. So you can get the presentation and see for yourself for your future use. These are the crops and varieties which are suitable for sodic soils. Then forage crops and varieties, these are suitable for waterlogged soils. Then, as I was mentioning, that Dharwad station has done a lot of work in participatory fodder production in mango orchards in Karnataka. So many farmers were trained. So much area has been covered under this, that crops introduced via Bajar Napier hybrid, Guinea grass. We have in Guinea grass we have two types. One is grazing Guinea and another one is Guinea. Then cowpea and lucerne were used. Then one more fodder crop for dryland areas was perennial fodder sorghum and Stylosynthus hamata. And these were the technologies which were suitable for some arable, non-arable, and cultivated areas. But we have some technology, we have some resources. IGFRI has done a lot of work in collaboration with ICAR-IGFRI. I was talking about cactus. The cladodes of cactus can be a very good supplement of fodder. So many accessions were brought from ICAR-IGFRI and from other countries like Italy and Brazil. And it has also been promoted in various outreach programs of IGFRI. We have a flagship program like Adarsh Charagram, like Farmer First, like MGMG, in other institutes also. So this has been developed, these have been tested, and nutritional evaluation of cladodes also has been done. And it is having a very good fodder value. So it's very much suitable for semi-arid and arid regions. It can also be useful in rehabilitation of those lands. Then we also know that we have a lot of agricultural residues. We have potato harms or pea harms. IGFRI has also developed a technology how these low-grade roughages can be conserved in the form of silage for feeding during lean periods to the livestock. Then, of course, sugarcane is one of the very important cash crop in our country. Although not much work has been done in screening sugarcane for fodder purpose, but it I mean, there is an initiative going on between Sugarcane Breeding Institute at Coimbatore and IGFRI. So many accessions or collections or lines they have identified, and they are in the process of evaluation and screening. So hopefully, in the times to come, we can get a fodder sugarcane variety. So this is a perennial forage. This is a perennial crop. It also, because the sugarcane tops, which are not used for extracting sugar, and the the roughage, the other like sugarcane press mud or the bagasse, which is the leftover after extraction of sugar, whatever remains there, that also can be used as as fodder. That can be by using technologies like total mixed rations or compact feed blocks. Then Moringa, we had first lecture of Moringa. I think everything about Moringa has been dealt with in that particular lecture, and the particular resource person also has shared a PPT. The link is that shared PPT is with the YouTube presentation. So everything has been covered. So this Moringa uh, has been a very it can be a wonder crop so far as fodder augmentation in our country is concerned. It is suitable for almost entire India except temperate regions. It's having a very good protein content quality, very much comparable to some temperate legumes like red clover and white clover. Up to its crude protein goes up to 22%. So it's a very quality nutritious fodder for livestock. And NDF and ADF values are very less, and the dry matter digestibility is more than 60%. So that is it can be a wonder forage crop in the times to come. Thank you very much. This is all about this presentation. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer your queries.
Thank you, sir, for being with us. Basically, we have three lectures today. The second resource person is already in meeting, waiting for us. If there are just one question or two, we'll take. Then we'll join the second meeting. We cannot go further. We have already taken some time of the second speaker. Do you have any questions, sir? I don't think there are questions today. Because I
Okay,
think the
okay.
second session is going to be starting very soon.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of the organizing committee, it's always been a pleasure, and we thank you again, sir. And we look forward to further occasions where we can collaborate. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. It has been always a pleasure
Thank you, thank
having
you,
you
thank
here, sir.
you,
Thank you. Thanks a
thank
lot.
you very much.
Participants, I'll be sharing a link here. You join that session that is going to start very soon. Join very fast because we want the second session to start as soon as possible. So the link is going to be in chat, in WhatsApp groups, and on your email. Just a second, let me copy the link and give it to you.
हेलो
Just a second.
जी हाँ ओके ओके सो
This
आपको
section,
अभी ये सेशन तो खत्म हुआ सेकंड सेशन ज्वाइन कीजिए ठीक है
second session link is being I have put it in chat also, here in chat.
हम अभी
Simultaneously it has been
ठीक है
put in WhatsApp groups.
ओके
Please check and join as soon as possible. We're going to start very fast. This is going to be starting soon. Links have been given. Please join. Please leave this session and join that session. You have to leave this session and join that session. Thank